Hello, friends. So, as always, I get requests from our community, and rather than just make a film for just that one person, I think it's something that probably the majority of us can use, or at least many of us. So, there's a member of our community who has excruciating low back pain, feels completely immobilized, and is having a hard time doing work, chores, caring for children, etc., lifting, moving. And so, this is actually going to be breath work to try to support the low back. And they are unable to lay on their back, which is the case with other friends of mine who have had really who've had really sensitive low backs. And so I'm hoping that this is a position that if you're ever in a point where you have low back pain, you can lay in. Even if you don't, this would be really good work for your low back, even if it's incredibly healthy. Let's continue to keep it healthy and do some preventative medicine, so to speak, right? So, if you don't have these blankets, fancy like, right, find something that has a little bit of firmness that you're going to lay down, right, on it as such in a prone position. So you want it to be approximately the length of your torso, maybe just down a little bit onto the thighs. You want something that has a little bit of firmness. If it's too soft, it's not going to work. If you have a bolster, super sweet, but I know most people don't have bolsters at home, right? Best investment I ever made. And then it would be awesome, particularly for low back pain friends, to have one that lifts the pelvis just slightly, which hopefully will give a little more freedom to that low back in this position. And then I have a blanket I'm going to pull up over me because it is still a little chilly in Walla Walla, and if I'm chilly, the physiological reaction is for my muscles to contract, which is the exact opposite of what we want to happen right now. So, have a blanket on standby. If it gives you any kind of comfort, please use props, right? Okay, so take a pause, set yourself up with something like this, get that blanket ready to cover up your body and cuddle and snuggle yourself in, and then come and hit play again. Did you just hit play again? So I'm going to bring that blanket. And by the way, you could also have a blanket rolled up underneath your ankles, right? But I'm going to take the blanket up and over me so I don't have to go looking for it, right? When I come down, I'm going to move mine off to the side just for a second so you can see. I come down with my pelvis on that higher portion of the blanket, right? And then I start to lower myself down, and I'm going to get my microphone repositioned here. And then when I come down and in, hopefully my chin hangs off the front. I can build a forehead stack, a hand stack for my forehead to come down on. Right, so go ahead and you can even move your legs one at a time, getting a little bit of space at the psoas. But try to find this position. And then, if you want that blanket, put that blanket underneath you. If you decide you do want that blanket roll or a pillow underneath your ankles, take the time, grab the stuff, and do it. Yeah? You want to be here for about 5 minutes. And if you need to make any adjustments, just turn the video off for a second. Try to find the position that's going to work for you, and then come and do the position. If lying down doesn't work, sitting up would be acceptable as well. It's just you're not going to get the benefits of being able to soften down into gravity quite the same, yeah? So this is beautiful on itself, and it's a restorative pose. And today we're not going to use it quite as such, right? Hopefully it still feels restorative and lovely to be here. But again, we're going to start to work with the breath. So first of all, I just want you to notice that low back area, right? And we probably all have different things going on in our low back. And again, maybe it is a very, quote, healthy low back and you don't have any issues there, but you can still bring your awareness and get a feeling, a felt sense of the area. I'll talk mainly to my friends who are sensitive and suffering in that area, right? Try to simply start by releasing all of the muscles of the low back. And when you think you have, dig a little deeper. All I mean by that is I can't tell you how many times working with private clients and even my own body, we're like, yep, released. And then after being there for a little bit, we find, oh gosh, actually, I still have this set of muscles that are engaged.
that kind of thing. So just go through the layers, layer by layer, and just start to try to soften everything you can down into gravity right now. Gravity's coming up and they're holding you. They've got you. And you can check into the rest of the body if you've got tension anywhere else. Facial muscles, shoulders, etc. Go ahead and soften that as well. Yeah? And when we work with the breath, we're not trying to force anything to happen, right? It's a very subtle quality to the breath. And yet we'll talk about trying to expand with the breath. So we're going to build up some abdominal pressure with every inhale. The diaphragm, if you don't know, is that strong sheath of a muscle that goes. It splits your thoracic cavity and your abdominal cavity. One of its main functions is to pull air into the lungs. But it has a couple of other functions as well that are really useful for supporting and protecting the spine. So first, just bring your awareness to that diaphragmatic area, the bottom of the ribs, yeah? And I want you to just envision that every time you inhale, you're probably not going to be able to feel it, right? But every time you inhale, that diaphragm moves down into the abdomen. You'll feel the belly has nowhere to go, so maybe you'll notice that that back starts to gently rise up towards the sky. And then when you exhale, as the diaphragm moves back up towards the lungs to expel the air, right, we end up feeling that back start to gently move back down towards the blankets. So just notice that for a few breaths. So again, the abdomen is just entirely soft, the low back entirely soft. And noticing how when we soften that area, right, when there are muscles engaged to make you look thin or to protect you or whatever those engagements are, right, I've had probably almost all of them at some point or another. But when there's complete softness, there's this movement. It's an expansion on the inhale. And on the exhale, it's this release. So now we're going to play a little bit with the retention of the inhale. And what that means is we're going to breathe in, and I'm going to try to count it out. We'll breathe in on about 5. And then we're going to try to hold that breath on 5. And we're going to see if we can't exhale on 10. So we'll double the exhale. We'll take about 2 beats in between, and we'll do that breath again. Now, if you find that that count is a little too high, you feel like you've got the vacuum effect or you have to the air out, then, just count your own counts and let it go 4, 4, 8, 1 or 2, right? And start over again. So let's exhale so we're in the same place. And inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 2, 1. Now you can just pause the counting. We'll go back to it in a second, but I want to add something to that. I don't want you to push, right, or actively try to make something happen. But as you are doing that count, I'm the one in charge of the count. You don't have to worry about that. You can follow my count. But I would love for you, right, to think about trying to bring your expansion into whatever part of the spine feels like it's the most tender, right? Whether it's the spine or the muscles around it, right? Whatever that is, but bring it to the most tender area of the low back, sacrum area. Try to find the inhale there without forcing it or pushing it, right? And then when you hold, I want you to just think about those muscles like Laffy Taffy lengthening around that expansion, right? And then when you exhale, just a complete release and softening as they release back down towards the bolster. We'll do 2 more of those 5s, and then we're going to try to bump up to 6, 6, 12, 2. Yeah, and we'll try to do 2 of those. Again, if it feels like more than you're ready for, just stick with 3, 4, 5, whatever that is for you, yeah? So let's exhale so we're in the same place. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold sensitive area, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 2, 1. And go back to a regular breath. Now, if you feel pretty comfortable here, if the low back has softened in any capacity, please, please, please stay here as long as you can, especially when you have major, chronic pain you're dealing with. You're probably not resting well, maybe not sleeping well, etc. So give yourself the gift of being in this pose for a while. You can continue to work with the breath, or you can just now go into the restorative part of it and let go of the breath and just try to be still and calm. If you're on a time commitment, right, when you go to push up, you're going to bring your hands next to your low floating ribs, tone the belly back to the spine so you protect the low back, right, because sometimes transition can be the trickiest part. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to push into the ground. Pardon me, I'm just grabbing my mic and bringing it with me, right? If it feels okay with your body, you might widen the knees, toes together, and come back into a child's pose. That's not going to be right for a lot of low backs, right? So you might just come to hands and knees as another option, right? You might come into a seated posture. So find the place that's the best for you. And the low back is really sensitive. Sometimes moving it into that flexed or rounded position can be hurtful and potentially harmful, right? So you might just keep your spine really long. You might just simply go to hands and knees and then sit back and put a block underneath your buttocks, right? Try to pause for a moment and just notice what's happening in that low back area. And again, hopefully this is a helpful tool. If you're someone who's suffering with low back and you're not able to lie down in that way or whatever, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, may you find freedom in wherever your chronic pain is. Namaste.